Again, welcome everybody to the 8th Credit Union Contact Center Roundtable. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, I'm super pumped that Patty isn't sick of me. You guys had to sit and watch me do this for what, 3 hours yesterday on a on a virtual meeting. So thanks so much for joining again. And Glizette, I didn't catch you. Where are you joining us from?
Michigan as well, Adventure Credit Union.
All right, look at this Michigan domination. I love it. Okay, well. So for those of you, let's just dig in. For those of you, oh Missy, I see you just unmuted yourself. Feel free to introduce yourself and turn on your camera if you wouldn't mind.
Hi, I'm Missy. I'm actually with Bear Heritage Federal Credit Union, main location in West Virginia, but we're scattered at South Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania. We're scattered all over the place. I don't have a camera and I'm multitasking, so I'm going to kind of join in when I can. I'm the supervisor here and I'm kind of putting out a couple fires at the moment, but I'm going to stay in the meeting so I can join when I can.
All right, putting out fires. Maybe that could be your what John's going to talk about. John, why don't you go ahead and say what you're going to talk about? Maybe that Missy can talk about putting out her fires.
Yeah, isn't that one of the hats we always wear as contact center supervisors? We are firefighters. That is a fact. Thank you for the heads up, Missy. Hopefully, we do go into breakout rooms. This is very interactive, so hopefully you're able to interact and we can pop in and check on you as well. So again, welcome everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Wyrau. I work with Rick Olson Seminars. We do all sorts of things like leadership development, culture development. I'm very passionate about that. I've spent my entire career in the nonprofit financial sector, doing credit counseling and then also working for a credit union. And now I consult primarily credit unions. But that entire time, I was also working in a contact center environment. So there's just a few things that really inspire me about all of this. Working in the nonprofit financial sector, it is an amazing thing to do. Credit unions are such an amazing force for good. But when we're dealing with people's finances and we're dealing, so the financial industry is one of the most stressful industries to work in to begin with. Not to mention the contact center being one of the most stressful environments to work in. So I really find it important to connect with people in this way. So I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute, but I want to introduce here my co-host, Ryan Boyd. Please, Ryan, introduce yourself. Tell us where
Thank
you.
Thank you. Ryan Boyd, Technology Advisor for C3, and I have been a credit union member since the day I was born. I came right out, and then my mom set up an account at the credit union, and been in love with the credit unions ever since. Love helping you guys out. I lead the FI practice here at C3, where we provide guidance on the technologies that can make your contact center and your credit union better. Today, I'm going to go over a topic that's really cool, and it's all about integrating different things together. So, for example, your core processor. Let's integrate that into the contact center. Why? Well, there's a ton of benefits. Improve the member experience, more efficient things, more security. We'll get into all that and talk about where you're at on that roadmap if you're doing it and when you plan to do that.
Thank you, Ryan. And yeah, so when digging into contact centers, there's like three really main areas I like to focus on. One is just the emotional resilience of staff, right? Again, it's such a stressful environment dealing with people's finances, especially in the contact center environment. They really let us have it sometimes in the contact center, don't they? When they've got the courage of not being face to face. So we focus on the emotional resilience of our staff. I also like to focus on leadership and data to know how to be that effective leader in these difficult environments, as well as how to properly use data, to not overwhelm, to not micromanage, but use the most effective pieces of data. And then the third pillar, and I don't mean that in any sort of hierarchy, the third, because a very important pillar is the technology side. And that's where Ryan and I really kind of connected and realized there's a lot of work to be done in the credit union world. Now, again, let's just talk about that. We've got difficulties. We've got a stressful environment. We've got a stressful industry. And honestly, how these roundtables even started, it was that with all the different credit unions I've been working with, Missy, I actually work with two credit unions out of West Virginia as well, West Virginia Central as well as Longreach. I work with credit unions all over the country, and the one thing that kept coming up was just that every contact center supervisor was like, man, I feel alone. I feel like nobody really understands me in my credit union because this is just a so quickly evolving thing, right? Like the technology evolves so incredibly fast. Not just, I mean, overall in the financial industry, the technology evolves extremely fast, not to mention communication technology. So what we wanted to do is find a way to help find this environment to help each other connect with other people in similar situations. So, in order to start this off, we want to really dig into what are the difficulties you're seeing? What frustrations are you seeing? I do have some answers. I do have, we both have some solutions, but we want to hear first from you all to like sit down and just say, what are your pain points? What is your points of friction? Where are you struggling, whether it's with members or technology or leadership or getting the ear of your board or getting the ear of your executive team. I want you to take some time and just sit down and write out the frustrations you're seeing in your contact center, either from staff or frustrations you're seeing yourself. Okay. This is the age of information. You can Google how to have a great contact center or how to be a great leader or what technology is out there. But we're always drinking from the fire hose of information. So I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to be silent. I'm going to give you some thinking music and write down all your thoughts, and then we'll come back as a group shortly.
Live thinking music today. No island stuff, okay?
That's right.
All right, who's feeling frustrated out there?
So the intent of this, again, in this fast-paced world we're living in, is just give you a second to write down some thoughts, write down what you're experiencing. Now I want you to be able to meet some of your peers. So we're going to throw you into some breakout rooms, have some one-on-one conversations, take some time to introduce yourself, let whoever you're talking to know where you're coming from and what your specific position is, what your specific title is, and then discuss some of those frustrations. So we're going to give you some time to do this. It takes some time to get to know each other a little bit, maybe 5-6 minutes. We'll have you in there. So try to be concise and be a good listener and discuss those frustrations and maybe some of the solutions that you're using to approach them. And we'll bring you back into the bigger room and we'll kind of discuss it as a larger group. So Caitlin, feel free to go ahead and kick off those breakout rooms. And did everyone have enough time to get to know each other a little bit, or was that too fast?
I think it was probably just right. Yolanda, I got your drift. Thank you for sharing that. So I think it was good.
Great. I had a great conversation. Let's see, there's Glizette. There she is, and with Glizette and Missy, who are facing a couple of the most common frustrations that I've been hearing, honestly, including technology and difficulties with mergers. But I'm real curious, who would like to share like something that they had heard from either the person they were speaking with or just something they wanted to share at all that you guys maybe connected about or that you learned about somebody else? Go ahead, Justin. You're unmuted. I'll call on you.
All right, deal. I got the privilege of chatting with Caleb a little bit. He was out on the floor, so he was chatting while I was talking. So he got to listen to me rant for like 5 minutes. But one of the things that we did connect on and we agreed with was burnout, employee retention, and turnover. That's been one of the frustrating things that we've been dealing with. So I'm the director here of our contact center, and one of the challenges that we had in 2024 was unprecedented turnover, right? And we kind of accustomed that to burnout, increased volume, unprecedented, economies of scale, and just things that we really couldn't control. And then the job market also played into that. So that was one of the things that we had in common. And then another frustrating thing for my credit union in particular is technology, right? So right now we are not on a omni-channel platform for our contact center. So we have both voice and chats today on 2 different platforms. We are underway with a project trying to merge that together, but basically having the technology that we want and being pretty particular about what we desire is either very, very new, including conversational AI for voice. It's hard, and there's a lot of vendors in the space. There's a lot of vetting that needs to be done. The projects are long and cumbersome. So that's one of the things that we're dealing with.
Man, I'll tell you that technology selection can be a long and grueling process. What do you have any front runners? Do you know which technology you'll be going with to capture that omni-channel?
Yeah, so we actually signed contracts with Core.ai. We went live on their chat bot back in March of last year. We are currently underway with the voice side of things, but have run into some pretty major roadblocks that have set us back about 6-7 months. So we're still working through that, and yeah, that's been frustrating and a little bit of a challenge. But our current vendor that we're under contract with is Core.ai.
Got it. Yeah, so from my experience, if you have someone, they call it AI, artificial intelligence, sure, but that's going to require the human intelligence to build all the intents in the background,
Yep.
at least for now, until the machines take over. But what I found about personally is if you're very active in developing that chatbot, you can reduce your chat volume. At least at Frankenmuth Credit Union, when I was working closely with them, they reduced their chat volume by about 70%, which obviously is a huge reduction in staffing needs. And they're anticipating maybe about a similar reduction in phone calls as well when the phone bot launches. So it's an amazing thing, Justin. Not only from the staff reduction side, but actually the reason I think this stuff is so neat is involving the burnout and the retention issues, because when the bots can handle those more mundane things like the simple what's my balance, what's my due date, transfer this money, you start to feel like, what am I? I'm just doing this really simple, silly stuff, as opposed to tackling the more difficult scenarios. So is that kind of part of your desires as well?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and one of the other things to add to that is, that 24/7, 365 service, right? I mean, we have pretty lengthy hours. We're open 8 till 9, 8 a.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. So we already have pretty lengthy hours in our contact center, but we still have members that want and have banking needs, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., right? So
Yeah.
having some form of conversational AI that members can reach out and answer some of those simple banking questions. I don't want to say simple, those yeah, you know what I'm saying, the more common banking questions any time of the day, 24/7, 365. That was one of our strategies for AI.
So do you anticipate that you might be able to shorten your hours of live agents by implementing AI?
For sure. We're already looking into that. Again, we're live on our chats right now. Last month, we contained 62.7% of our incoming chats, which is actually over what we anticipated for year one. So yeah, we're already looking at, at least one FTE reduction, and also able to reduce our hours for that digital team as well. And then obviously we're hoping for the similar results for voice. We had a chat bot prior to Core, through Galia, but we have never offered a voice bot. So obviously there's going to be some member buy-in on the voice side of things. So we don't expect, instant 50, 60% containment on voice when we get to that point, because it's going to require, that member shift, I guess, that member experience shift. But long-term, we're looking 30, 40% containment.
That's great. At least probably, yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, I always say you got to do what's best for your membership, even if it might upset a few members. You got to do what's best for the long-term membership. Last question I have for you, Justin. Sorry, I'm really drilling you because you got my curiosity on all sorts of
Oh,
things.
you're good.
What else are you doing for employee burnout? I mean, it is, it's the technology stuff, good, that's fine. But how long have you been trying to combat that?
Yeah, so another thing that we did, so I took over as director middle of 2023, and one of the very first things I did, I know it was kind of alarming to some, but I actually restructured our entire contact center. So prior to me taking over as director, I was a manager before, so internal promotion. But we had a employee manager ratio of about 20-1, so 20 employees to 1 manager. So it kind of took a step back and said, that's pretty extreme. So with the restructure, we added some, assistant managers, we added some senior MSAs, member service advisors, which then spread that employee manager ratio down to about 12-1. So I think that already started to help. But I'll be honest with you, I was surprised because the feedback, the verbal feedback we're getting was that was positive, but the actual numbers, the turnover numbers didn't necessarily impact that. Also, we did have return to office last year as well, which I think did drive some people out. We were fully remote prior to that. So, some senior leadership changes, I think also, had some weight in that turnover number. People are still hoping to work from home when they aren't, but we're working through it a lot. We're trying to just be more of a listening team, listening to that feedback. One of the things that we just launched at the beginning of this year, we are open on Saturdays. Employees don't like to work Saturdays, so we actually opened a Tuesday through Saturday shift, trying to hire specifically for that, so that our Monday through Friday folks don't have to work Saturdays, because that was some feedback that we got from the team. So just trying to be a listening organization, a listening team, listening to the team's feedback, and hopefully, with what decisions we can make, it will aid in our retention.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, I've got a million more questions for you, but I'm going to move on. But feel free to reach out to me offline just on other strategies for employee burnout. I'm very passionate about that subject.
Wonderful.
What else did we talk about? Anyone else willing to share how their conversation went? Patty, I'm going to call on you, so you might as well just unmute.
All three people in my breakout had the same one. Go ahead, Patty. I just saw you on mute.
Yeah, Travis was giving me a hard time over here. We were talking about our struggle to get our team members to do the cross-selling that they need to be doing, and just taking that conversation one step further and saying, hey, did you know we have great auto loans, or have you looked at our mortgages, or just keeping those conversations going and having the cross sales come through.
Yeah. Do people shy away? I know the sales word is so intimidating. Yeah,
it is.
I'm curious if you or if anyone has come up with a different term for that. I tried to stop calling them cross sales, but they saw through my shenanigans. But I just called it like their member enhancement ideas, or what?
I've called it accessorizing your membership sometimes too. We're going to accessorize you with the products and services we have, and yeah. It's tough. I have a tough time motivating my team, no matter how many contests I give or what the reward may be. Some just still will not pull those numbers in.
Thank you for sharing. Ryan, you were going to say your main topic was?
So it was everybody in my breakout room said cross sales. So combination of them not doing it, combination of them forgetting to do it, not properly incentivizing them to do it. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, properly incentivizing. We ended up when I was supervising the contact center at Frankenmuth Credit Union, creating like an internal champion, someone who's really good at it, and then she kind of wrote up a playbook of here's what I look for, here's how I do it, and that way it wasn't always me kind of barking saying this is how you do it, but someone that was great at it created a little internal playbook and then did like ongoing little tips emails like once a week. Here's my tip of the week type of stuff. So lots of cool stuff that's helped there, but that's a common one for sure. Properly incentivizing.
There's some really cool cheap software out there called gamification software. You guys have probably heard of some of this, right? Where it tracks whatever metrics you want to track, and it puts it up on a board like a leaderboard, and then what's your contest for the month, and Charlie's in first place, Eddie's in second place, Caitlin's in third place or whatever, and it tracks that. And then they get however many points they get, and there's different ones out there, but however many points they get, they can cash it in for prizes. Maybe they get the reserve parking spot, maybe they get a free dinner, maybe they get this, get that. But the thing with that is, it's not so much as the money or the prizes, but psychologically, nobody wants to be in last place. So when they see that up there, and a lot of people too will let people choose a nickname. So maybe John, you don't want everyone to know that you're in last place, so your nickname is Superman or whatever. But anyways, And it works. People have tracked the results for that. So that's a very inexpensive fix to try. And a lot of the contact center softwares these days, well, some of them anyway, have that built in out of the box.
You know, that's awesome, Ryan. And you just broke through to me on that. I've always been skeptical about the gamification software. I'm like, is that really necessary? I can just pull the data and send the data out. But it's a little bit more fun than just seeing a list of who's on top, who's on bottom, and everywhere in between. So that's cool. Thank you for sharing that. In my group, we discussed, well, first of all, Missy talked about and why she's, putting out fires and pulled in so many directions is because she wears so many hats. And that's I see a lot of that throughout the credit industry. I'm the contact center manager. I'm also the fraud manager. I also handle disputes and everything else under the sun. So wearing so many hats can create, individual burnout, but it also pulls you away from being the support to your team. That direct support, kind of like Justin was experiencing with the 20-to-1 manager ratio. So wearing many hats is one thing we talked about in our group. Gazette was sharing about the difficulties of kind of handling a merger. Do you want to expand on that a little bit for us, Gazette?
Sure. Yeah. So we recently took on Estera Credit Union, and so it's we've gone through like our legal day one. Operational is not until November, but it's just kind of the unknown of what is going to be combined, what departments are going to be combined, who's going to be going where, what different options we would have for that type of stuff. So that's kind of where our staff is right now. It's kind of unknown.
Yeah, lots of changes there, and speaking of changes, that was another thing Missy talked about too, was changing the contact center software. So like you said, Justin, it's a long, grueling process to select, and Missy pointed out something that was great. That I have experienced as well. It's like, hey, but we finally selected one, and then the implementation process went great, but then she now feels maybe a little lost and stranded. She's having issues with the technology and can't get anyone to help her, which I wonder if anyone has felt that before in this world. So, yeah. So let's see. Yolanda, was there any frustrations that you experienced that we have not covered yet?
Okay. I was trying to come off of mute. Well, I was in late, but I do have the same issue as Patty with the promotion of the cross sells. I use the example with a family security plan. All they have to do is like transfer the call over, and family security takes care of promoting our products and maybe getting the member signed up for insurance, and they get $1 per call that they transfer, so they can make as much as they want or not, but they just are not motivated to do it at all. But my director, that is back on our radar for this year, and it'll be a part of their goals and objectives. And so if they don't do anything, then that goal, their performance could suffer because of that. So,
Okay. So we're talking not just incentives, but accountabilities as well.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Now I'm curious. I've lived this world for so many years, dealing with what do you incentivize, and is that enough, or what is an accountability where there's repercussions if you don't hit a certain number, and when is that enough? And for me, what I found, I don't know if this is the silver bullet or not, but it was doing quality reviews. Instead of just giving everyone a blanket, like you got to hit at least this many cross sales, we would incentivize them. But then in the quality reviews, I required deep dive quality reviews of the supervisors that reported to me. So not only would you listen to the call and check boxes to make sure that they handled the call appropriately and said all the things they had to say, but you'd actually log into the core and see where did you miss a cross sale opportunity. And that's a very manual thing. There is actually a lot of AI quality review software out there that could help with this as well, but it's so subjective. I don't know how effective AI would be at it. But very specifically, it's like at least as a coaching tool to be like, here is one conversation where you could have cross-sailed and did a cross-sell and you did not.
Right. So we do have a scorecard, and I have 10 items on there, and one of them is cross-sell. And most of the time it's an NA because our members are calling just to get their balances. They don't want anything else, and they want to be on their way. But and it is a manual process. So as a matter of fact, I had a one-on-one today with someone who missed an opportunity across sell to just have the member use our app, or download the app. And so I've talked to the team about, okay, this is going to get more serious. So when you have an opportunity to cross sell and you don't, it's going to be a no on that you didn't do it. And so then it affects their scorecard scores, and they have an overall goal of averaging a 9.5 score out of 10, average weekly, because I listen to like 10 calls a week per person, and we're a very small team. But yes, and then my director is going to have adding incentives, because before the contact center was not included, the branches had the incentives for the cross sales. So it'll be a part of my goals, which is then a part of their goals. So we're going to get more serious about the cross sell.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for sharing, Yolanda, and thank you everyone for sharing that. We've got everything from burnout, turnover, retention, to technology frustrations, technology support, vendor support frustration, mergers, wearing too many hats, cross sales as well. Yeah, I'm really excited to hear more about where you guys end up with cross sales and the different ideas and tips and tricks you have there. It's especially for those cross sales that don't kind of stand out and whap you in the head as an obvious one, but the more like, hey, this person doesn't have a car loan, but I'm sure they have a car. Maybe I could steal this car loan from whatever other institution they have their loan at, getting tricky. But Ryan, let's thank you all for sharing there. Let's pass it over to Ryan to talk some technology stuff, and we'll move on from there.
And make sure you guys come back to the next roundtable and give us a report on your cross-selling initiatives. So we're going to be very interested to hear that. So I'm going to talk about some real-world live fires with some recent credit union engagements for you guys, and it's around the technology, the software that people can utilize to enhance the member experience, become more efficient. Because at any given time, year over year, month over month, we're probably consulting with at least 5 or 6 credit unions simultaneously. So every month, we got 5 to 6 simultaneous projects going on. Everybody from LMCU and Frankenmuth down to the small, 20-person credit unions. But the theme has been recently, hey, we're talking to a very diverse group of people here, everyone from baby boomers down to Gen Zers. And guess what? Member expectations have changed, okay? So what can we do to meet some of these expectations? What can we do to make that member experience so good that when the interaction is complete, they're going to tell someone else about how great it was? That's the goal. That's what our credit unions are trying to do. And there's a couple of things I'm going to highlight today that that are available. And think about some of these things. I'm talking about basically integrating with your core, whether that be CU base, Fiserv, Jack Henry, whatever that is. Get your contact center integrated into the core. And you'll see why here shortly. We didn't do a poll this week, but our survey internally here says, where's my chat? Our survey internally says, why are we wanting to embrace this technology? Well, these are the top 7 reasons right there. And they can all you can achieve some improvement in all of those with just a couple of things here. So I'm going to play 2 videos, and then we're going to do the breakout rooms again to talk about if you've heard of this and where it is on your map. So the first video is a 1-minute video only. And I wasn't going to show this one, but it's all about authentication. And that's going to tie into the core integration here. So because it varies, you guys know how long it takes to authenticate your members when they call. It's very important to do so. Here we go. This is some authentication software that you can utilize.
Thank you for calling Connexus. This is Cassandra. How can I help you today?
Hi, I need to check my balance in my checking account and then transfer some funds to another account.
I can definitely assist you with that. May I have your name, please?
My name is Mary Smith.
Thank you, Mary. And to pull up your account, I will just need your member number or your full social security number.
My member number is 12345678.
Okay, if you can see on that screen right there, the software is verifying the voice of this member. So you're going to see on the left-hand side is using the voice authentication software. And then on the right-hand side here, you'll see in a minute, not using that and doing it the manual way.
All right, thank you. And I do see that you have been voice verified, so I can assist you with this request right away.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for calling Connexus. This is Cassandra. How can I help you today?
Hi, I need to check my balance in my checking account and then transfer some funds to another account.
I can definitely assist you with that. May I have your name, please?
My name is Mary Smith.
Thank you, Mary. And to pull up your account, I will just need your member number or your full social security number.
My member number is 12345678.
Okay, thank you, Mary. For this request, I will need to complete a couple additional steps for security. I'll go ahead and start out with a couple of multiple choice questions. If you just give me one moment here while I pull those questions up.
We're going to lightning speed through this. Member authentication.
Okay, so we have you all verified. So moving forward, I can assist you with that original request. Thanks so much for going through that process with me.
Okay, so I wanted to bring that up because it's going to tie into this this video here, which I'm going to show as an example of core authentication or core integration with your contact center. And that first video, by the way, that voice authentication, there's 5 dozen vendors. Justin, to your point, there's 1,000 providers out there, right? Which one are you going to choose? That one there is just one of many that happens to work with any contact center software or phone system that you may have in place. So you don't have to rip and replace everything if you'd like to do something like that. Now, I'm not going to play the whole 5 minutes here. I'm going to skip around for time. But this, to start, there's a call coming in. There's an incoming call. And your core, you can choose to have that live inside of the UI, user interface, this is a desktop application that the agent signs into here. Or you could have it pop up, as a side-by-side at another widget window. But that screen pops when that member comes in, and you're going to see a couple things here that's going to the value of this. Here we go.
I'm very glad Ryan's number one on his chat is the enhanced member experience. If you've ever heard me, if you've ever heard me speak, which I can barely do right now, you hear me talk a lot about the member experience, how it's the number one thing that sets us apart from all of our competitors, from fintech, everything like that. Members will pay, more money for products and services because we're not always the cheapest. Let's be honest, by having an excellent experience, and so. Yeah, that is it. You got it going, Ryan?
Yes, I'm so sorry, everybody. They call me a technology advisor, but it's not my fault. So anyway, this is one example of many. This is the UI that the agent is logged into, okay?
For authentication, we can do a search to the core based on that information. In this example, we are bringing up a search box here. There could be multiple members associated with one phone number. In this example, there's only one, so I'm just going to go ahead and click through to that. And the first thing that we're going to see, if they haven't been authenticated prior to getting to the agent, we're going to be able to pull in knowledge-based questions. Typically, that's going to be from within the core.
Okay, so that's why I played the authentication video first, because you could just eliminate that whole step. Why that automatic authentication. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here. I'm going to go up about... let's see where we're at, because I just want you to see what's possible, because as you create your integration with whatever core you're on, you can choose what information you want surfaced up to your agent, depending on, what you want them to have access to, what the goals are.
Once we've authenticated, we're going to know exactly who this member is. We're going to give some high-level information. If we need to drill down and provide additional details on the member, those are things that we can typically do. For a lot of the calls that the contact center might take, it might be very basic questions like, what is my account balance? Maybe what are some recent transactions? So in this example, we're pulling in different account level information or different share information. So if it's a savings account, a checking account, we can dive into that a little bit deeper, give them some available balance information, maybe possible recent transactions or deposits, or any other information that might be valuable to the agent. We can display that within this interface. So this is just one use case that we've worked on. We can obviously do a lot more from this interface. And we're not only able to bring in information from the core, but we can also push information back to that system as well. So if it's a productivity type of gadget, like a fund transfer, we can bring in the information from the core, determine what account we want to do a transfer from, and maybe where we want to send the information or the money to. Have that very easy for the agent. They don't have to go into the core for every item. We're not trying to replace the core by any means. This is just one use case that we've worked in.
Okay, I'm actually gonna pause it there because we're coming up on the hour here. But hopefully you got it there. So it's a two-way street. Pull from the core, push to the core. You can surface whatever information you want surfaced. It can be inside the UI desktop application or alongside. And again, back to what I mentioned before, the member experience. So member expectations have changed. Show me you know me. Don't ask me the same questions. And I want it available 24/7, okay? And I want to talk to a robot, actually. I don't like talking to real people. So I want to chat or talk to a robot at 2 a.m. Well, when you have all this stuff set up integrated like this, you'll be able to have self-service on anything, anytime, anywhere. And the robots don't call in sick for that. What did you call it? Agent turnover. So, Caitlin, can we do breakout rooms for like 3 minutes on this? And then I want everyone to talk about, I see value, or do you see value, and are you doing this or not? And then we'll come back and we'll see where you guys are at on the spectrum.
Yep, I will get you guys all put into rooms here in just a moment.
All right, just 3 minutes, please. So what's everybody think? So this is top of mind for the past quarter for our credit union consulting engagements. What's everybody think? Is technology like this to make your members' lives easier worth it, or is it not really that important in your eyes? Anybody want to start?
Yeah,
Any
in our
questions?
in our case, it definitely is. When we were down, and honestly, we had zero phone system for almost right exactly at a year. It did make a difference for our members. You know what I mean? We were just picking up the phone and answering. We had nothing to work with, but having all this in place does make a better member experience, and it makes it much easier on your staff. It's worth the dollar.
Thanks, Missy. I agree. Show me you know me.
Yeah, I agree. I actually met with Illuma and PinDrop, which are both voice authentication vendors. And we really liked what both of them had to offer. We just prioritized conversational AI and trying to get, a new CCaaS solution first. But they are on our roadmap for 2026 to look at voice authentication. So we definitely see value in that from a member experience, but also from an efficiency standpoint.
Well, thanks, Justin. And Caleb chatted. Let's see. Our systems are quite old, so it'd be quite an endeavor to implement. So Caleb, you're partially correct. It's definitely easier to do it with the latest and greatest software that's really easy to use with all the application program interfaces opened up for you, APIs. But it can still be done. John integrated his Mitel system up there with the core. And then a lot of those voice authentication platforms can layer down on top of your Cisco's or whatever you're on, Caleb, down there. So, yeah, wherever you're at, if you guys are thinking about making a change on your software, then certainly try to incorporate all that at once. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to see base you gold. I'm quite familiar with that, Caleb. Yeah, actually they have just created an API for both of those things. For a phone number scan to kick back a member name and a member number. They also created an API for authentication. And we also, a couple years ago, had them create a custom build to integrate with the Mitel phone system. So it just depends, like you said, if your phone system is able to tap into APIs or do that custom build.
All right, 259. Any last words? Anyone?
Thanks for this, because I found out Gisette and I were in a room together, and she's actually using the tool. They're actually using Eltropy already and using it more than us. We just currently do it for the member verification by texting to the phone number on file, the cell phone on file, and them providing us with the 6-digit code that they receive. But we're going to get into part of my project this year is to do the chat. And so I'm glad that Gisette and I were in the room together, because now I have a contact of someone that uses that same tool. So this is a wonderful thing for me.
Well, good. That's the goal, is for all of us to talk amongst ourselves and hopefully help each other out. So, and feel free to continue conversations. You don't have to wait for the next roundtable. If somebody wants to call somebody, do it.
Yeah, Yolanda, you just made my day. That's the whole reason why we do this. We made a connection. That's awesome. So really appreciate your time. Appreciate everything you do for your credit unions and for the credit union movement. And we'll talk to you all sometime soon.
See you in the spring. Adios.
Thank you.